Bobby Charlton. Well done, Manchester United.
It's a Sheringham, and Solskjaer has done it! And it's saved it! United again! Renee! A magnificent goal by Robin van Persie!
Welcome to United Hour, your official Red Cafe podcast for all things Manchester United. This is sort of a new podcast type thing. I'm starting doing an opponent discussion. So we're going to try and do reviews before games and after games, just to see what opponent fans think of sort of the club and the games. You know, just different perspective, because it turns into a bit of a echo chamber when you're listening to our pods, because we all have sort of the same opinion. So tonight I've got with me a friend, Jay. We play football with each other every Fridays. Introduce yourself.
Jay. So we play footy every Friday, pretty much. Liverpool fan. Always been a Liverpool fan. Go to the game when I can. Got to go a fair bit last season. Must have racked up about 10 home games. Not had a chance to go to a live game yet, but follow them religiously, really. So watch any of the games when I can, when they're live. Just they're my club.
So you're clearly from Liverpool, aren't you? We can hear from the horrible accent.
Yeah. Is that how this is going then? United Liverpool fan on United Hour, is it just going to be a load of abuse?
No, that I'll keep it to a minimum, because I'd like you to come back, hopefully. Don't want it to be a bad experience. Well, I mean, it's probably going to be a bad experience for me, really, because of where we are in the league, but let's pretend that's not happening.
Yeah, tables are turning, aren't they?
Yeah. So I mean, tables are turning. So what are your hopes for Liverpool this season then? What do you...
It's a big one. I don't want to be one of those Liverpool fans that sits here and goes, it's our year. Because I think they do my head in as much as they're doing everyone else's head, to be honest. I think, going off last season, it was extraordinary. We won the Champions League, champions of Europe again, 1 point off winning the league, lost one game all season. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was amazing. We were pipped to the post by Man City, which really hurt. I think that last game of the season, when I think it was Brighton, when 1-0 up, and we just had that moment of hope of thinking, could it be?
We've been there.
Yeah, we have been there. So it's hard to sort of say, put all your hopes in saying we want to win it, but what's the next step up from last season? You finished second to 1 point behind, and you're champions of Europe. The hopes has got to be that you win the Premier League. We've started well points wise. Unbeaten so far. I still don't believe that we've fully clicked into gear yet.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. I still think defensively we've looked shaky at times. Midfield isn't fully clicking with the front three in every game. And we've, if we're honest, there's a few results where I think we've not scraped it, but we've not comfortably won. We've looked relatively solid, but I do genuinely think that there's more to come this season as well. I'm just hoping that we keep going up the hill rather than going down the hill, and we don't have a dip in form.
I think I've been saying for the last 3 seasons maybe, that Liverpool have to have a dip in form soon. They have to start slipping up soon, and it's just not happened. It absolutely baffles me, but it is what it. Presumably it's just Klopp, and he's making these team, the players he's selected, work in a way that just fits for them.
Yeah, I just think we've got a solid spine to the team. We haven't had a solid spine for years, really, and we've got Alisson, Van Dijk, and then you've got Fabinho, who's came in, who's just given that security in the midfield, and then you've got the front three, with Bobby Firmino, who's out of the front three, I'd lose Firmino, last. I'd happily get rid of Salah or Mane over Firmino. I think he's the guy that brings everything together up top.
Wow.
So with those four, that's a solid spine to the team. So it's looking good so far.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll move on from that then. So, do you know, the Liverpool United game is probably my least favourite game of the season. Yeah. I absolutely hate it. I don't look forward to it, and I'm glad when it's over. So I'll ask, what were you hoping for before you got into this game? Like, what if I said 1-1 before the game, would you have been happy for a 1-1 at Old Trafford?
It's a difficult one. We never get a result at Old Trafford.
No,
it just doesn't happen for us. So it's just one of those grounds where we just, I don't know whether it's psychological. The players turn up and they haven't got a result there, so therefore the pressure's on it. I don't know what it is. So before the game, obviously I was hoping that we'd win and we'd continue that brilliant start to the season. But given the way we played, I'll put it out there, you guys were the better team. I think Ole really showed what you can do tactically for once. I don't think we've seen it yet, but tactically, he got one over on Klopp easily.
Yeah.
So for Lallana to snatch it in the 85th, I was made up with that. It was gutting because I was hoping that we were going to thrash it 2 or 3-0, but it wasn't to be. But before the game, a result. I was thinking in my head, if we could snatch a 1-0, that'd be great. Form goes out the window with these games, doesn't it? It's the same for derbies. I just don't think it matters.
No.
So yeah, I think a 1-0 I would have been happy with. A 5-0 I would have been over the moon with.
Yeah, well,
to snatch it 1-1, given how we played. It was I hate to say it, but it was a good result for us, given the state of the play.
Yeah. So I say I wasn't going to bash Liverpool, but obviously I am going to, but I'm not relentlessly. But I'll be honest, I don't watch Liverpool unless they're losing with the last 10 minutes to go, and even then it's tenuous, because they have a habit of coming back. So what is it they did differently in this game that to the previous? Is it eight games in the season that meant that they just struggled to break us down or struggled to get into a semblance of flow, shall we say?
I think we were surprised by your formation, if I'm going to be honest. I think it's possibly the best I've seen United play for a very, very long time.
Oh, definitely, I agree.
We've played against teams this year. I think Newcastle come to mind, where they tried to play with wing backs with 3 at the back, but ultimately ended up dropping to a back 5. Which just gave our full backs the freedom to bomb forward. I think what you guys done really well is your wing backs was it Ashley Young and Wan-Bissaka?
Yes,
were relentless at going forward. There was no moment when you dropped into that back 5 and allowed Robbo and Alexander-Arnold to bomb up the wings, and that massively threw us. I think we didn't have that option out wide. Our pass and play was massively off. I've never seen us so poor for a very long time. Fabinho couldn't get in the game, and it just wouldn't click. And I think the more and more it wasn't clicking for us from the off, the more confidence you got. I think having Daniel James and Rashford playing as 2 narrow forwards again was not something that we were expecting. You almost had 3 forwards against our back 2, because we have Robbo and Alexander running up the wing so much that was it Pereira that was playing just behind?
It was, yes, yeah.
James and Rashford. I just think tactically you just got it spot on, and you were more up for the game than what we were really.
I think I sort of agree with that assessment. I do think Pereira, like you say, he was definitely getting in and around your defenders and your back line. And to be honest, I think that's probably the best I've seen us go about all these tactics, probably since we played PSG and Tottenham last season.
Yeah.
They're probably the only 2 times that I've seen us actually do what the players do, what they've been told to do, probably the best they could have done. So I mean, but in that, on the other hand, we did sort of drop off against you in the second half, and
Yeah.
well, particularly after the goal. So I don't know if that was a mistake by Ollie, but because obviously he came back into the game. But then, even if it was, I do understand why he did it.
I think it was possibly just the pressure thing from United side. Everyone knows that we score late in the game. We've done it again against you. And I think because you didn't go for the kill. I think you were trying to as much as you could, but the confidence and the flow wasn't there to allow you to do it.
No.
As soon as it started to get, midway through the second half, Klopp made a few changes. He brought Lallana on, which I thought was a smart move, because he just started to play a couple of passes that was just starting to unlock you a little bit, and that then just gave us the confidence that we could go forward. And then we ended up, we scored in the 85th, but if we're completely honest and you look at it, the ball in from Robbo wasn't the best.
No.
Wasn't the best cross in the world. It was a bit fluky, to be honest. But yeah, I just think you guys stepped off because we started to click a little bit. The pressure probably came onto the United players, knowing that we were going to get a chance at some point. And then fortunately we did, and that dodgy little cross in from Robbo lands at the feet of Lallana, of all people. And he put it away for his first goal since 2017, I think it was, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if you'd have offered me 1-1 before the game, I'd have probably taken it, because I just didn't want to see us get taken apart, in all honesty. So we've touched on that, and I guess I'll ask you about Solskjaer. There's a few of the fans, United fans, have been saying that they want to see him gone already.
Yeah.
Do you think he's the right man for United?
I don't think he's the right man, if I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't think he was the right man from the start. If I'm going to be completely brutal, and I don't know how this will sit with United fans really, but I think he's saved his own arse by doing what he's done in the transfer window and by going the philosophy of I'm going to play kids. I think that's possibly bought him a season by saying this is a rebuilding job. I'm going to get rid of, I don't know how you guys stand on the likes of Lukaku, but you get rid of Lukaku, who is a proven goal scorer in the Premier League, and you don't replace him with anyone. You get rid of a load of players, you don't replace them with anyone, and then you say, right, well, what we're going to do is we're going to go down the route of youth, like we used to in years gone by, and we need time to rebuild this squad with those young players coming through the academy. And instantly, if the board and the club agree to that, you're going to have to give that manager a season at least.
Yeah. And
part of me thinks that Solskjaer knew that, and that's why he hasn't brought in those players, because he knows he's going to get time with it. I just think it was the wrong move. If I'm honest, I don't see any players coming through your academy at the moment where I go, yeah, that's the right choice to make. It's not like you've done what Chelsea have done with Frank, where they've had players on loan, they've been getting that experience, they've come in, and you've looked at Mount and Abraham and all these players where you've been listening to reviews and hearing about them for years and how well they're doing in the Championship, and then they're ready for the Premier League. You brought in, McTominay, no disrespect to him, but he's not a United player. You brought in Daniel James, who he's looked all right at moments, but he's inconsistent. There's nobody that's coming through where you're looking and you're going, yeah, he's a solid young player, that could be one for the future for United. That's my opinion on that. I don't watch them week in, week out, but I just don't think he's the man for the job, really.
No. Well, I mean, it's interesting you say that, because, well, I do get what you're saying. I sort of, it's not something I'd thought of. But like, particularly get to players like McTominay and Daniel James. We call him James on this pod. Well, we've thought James has been quite good.
Right, okay.
And me personally, I'm sort of seeing shades of Keane in McTominay in a sense, and I think if he has a good season, like a properly good, of course we're only a third of the way into the season. Is it third? Not even a third, is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's not been that bad. He's been one of the bright lights in the squad. And
right. Okay.
Whether that's just us sort of our expectations have lowered that much that McTominay is a good, promotion from the youth team or not. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we have been talking about Tammy Abraham and his contributions to Chelsea with comparison to Rashford and his for United. And believe it or not, there was a couple of us, I think it was last season under Mourinho, shortly, like a month or two before we were sat saying that would Rashford have actually benefit from going on loan? For his own sake, to hit the ceiling that he's clearly capable of. We're sort of roundly shut up about that, but I'm still not sure. It depends on how he plays under Solskjaer, really.
Yeah, and you've not seen much really from him, under Solskjaer.
No.
Like I said, I'm not someone that watches United week in, week out, but just from what I have seen, he's got bags of potential. You look at Rashford all the time. He's one of those players that I'm not going to compare him to Walcott because he's a much better player than Walcott, but it's at that moment, isn't it, when you're looking at that player going, they've got everything, it's all there. But is he gonna hit it? Is he gonna go on and reach his potential? And the argument is the same for Walcott. For years and years and years, people were looking at him going, "There's something in this lad. There's something in this lad."
Yeah.
And he just never got there. And he just become one of those players that ultimately has just ended up having a bit of an average career. And you don't want to see that for the likes of Rashford. I really like him. I think when he came on a few years back, and he absolutely tore us apart. In the game that he played against us, I can't remember what it was now, but you were looking thinking that's a future England striker. That's someone that for the country we need. And you're looking at him now, and you're worried a little bit that under the guidance that he's got at United at the minute, is he going to reach that potential? Is he going to reach those heights? Maybe the expectations have changed. I think when you talk about United player, you're expecting, an absolute world beater, aren't you? But maybe you're right.
Yeah. So, in that respect, I mean, you'd have said something similar about early, Liverpool players, perhaps predominantly pre-Dalglish and maybe Roy. Did Roy come in after Rafa?
Yes, he did. Oh God, that's a question, isn't it? Yeah, it was Roy, Dalglish, Brendan.
Yeah,
Klopp. Yeah.
So do you think there's parallels between the United now and the Liverpool sort of post Rafa? I'd say your last sort of major.
Yeah, I can sort of see what you mean. I don't know if there's that much of a comparison because if we're honest, we weren't at the heights that United were. We weren't winning Premier Leagues. We weren't securing trophies. We had a few. We had a couple of League Cups, FA Cups. We won the Champions League in 2005 and got to the final in 2007. But there was an inconsistency in our seasons where United have always been consistent and challenging. So I don't know if there's so much of a comparison as we can sort of see the drop off. I think the drop off for United's been quite staggering, to be completely honest. You've dropped considerably, and everyone's talking about this rebuilding job that's happening, and yeah, you do need it, but you've had the players. If you look at the Liverpool squads after Rafa, we never had the players. The first massive signings that we made, during that sort of Roy Hodgson and Brendan Rodgers era was Luis Suarez. That was pretty much it, really, off the top of my head. Where have you guys, you put in the money for the Lukaku, you've put in the money for Alexis Sanchez. I know that didn't necessarily pull off, but at the time, everyone was thinking that's a huge signing. You've brought in Pogba, you've brought in Maguire, you've had massive money signings. So I don't know if there's so much of a comparison between the two. I think you've splashed a lot more. I don't know what it is with United, to be completely honest. It's a difficult one, isn't it?
No, I wish I did. You look at it and you think where are the leaders? But not just that though. Where's the player who's going to take the game by the scruff of the neck and win it? When it's not 70, 80 minutes in, it's 0-0. You're in supremacy. Who's the one that's going to go on and score that goal? And for United,
you haven't got anyone, and that's a really good point. And that's a really good point. You haven't got anyone that you've had there. I suppose if you put in the comparison, between the two. You know, we had a consistency with Steven Gerrard in midfield. You know, we had Carragher for a little bit before he retired. So we always had those two leaders there. We always had people that backed the orders, and, you know, they would take the game by the scruff of the neck. And Gerrard would burst down the other end of the field and you try and put one away. You look at United, and there's no one. I think when you brought Pogba in, you thought that there might have been something there with him to do that, but he's just not that type of player, and there's no one else in the squad.
To be fair to Pogba, I do think Pogba has it in him. It's just whether he can be arsed. And his arse games few and far between at the moment, it seems.
Is it the right team for him, United? Because you look at him at Juventus, you know, he was protected by a significant amount of world-class players.
Yeah.
And they had a strength and solidness to their defence and midfield that gave Pogba the freedom to roam a little bit more. Whereas at United, you haven't got that.
No. But then in France, in the France team, he's not got that either, really.
Well, I suppose he's secured with Kante, isn't he?
But, I mean, in the final, Kante went off and Pogba still ran the show for the France midfield.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one game, but he I think throughout the tournament he displayed a certain maturity that he's probably not really displayed at United. Whether that's because he cares more about his country than his club, which is understandable, but it might also mean that his heart's not really in United, I suppose.
I just wonder whether he's as good as people make out, or whether he's a brand more than he is a footballer, if I'm honest. I was at the Rochdale game at Old Trafford the other week. All of my wife and all of their family are Rochdale supporters, so we've got a season ticket for Rochdale, which I don't know as a Liverpool fan how that sits with me, but I get dragged to the games anyway. But we went to Old Trafford to watch Rochdale United, and Pogba played in that game, and, you know, he's playing at this moment in time lower mid-table League One opposition, who put a shift in because it was a big occasion, but there was nothing of him on that pitch.
No.
You know, he wasn't leading. He was playing sloppy passes. He missed open chances. And you're just looking, thinking, are you that, what was he, 90 million?
Yeah, 89. Yeah, we'll say 90.
Yeah,
that's fine.
85, 90 million player who was bought from Juventus to come back to United, where he'd been through that youth academy, you know, almost as the saviour. And you think, what has that money bought you? Yeah. Really? You know, there's a big question mark over it. And I think that partly is the worry for United, is where you're going to splash that cash to bring in the players that you need. Maguire, you know, decent signing, but again, having to pay 80 million for him.
Well, yeah,
significant, isn't it?
It is, but I mean, you pay what you have to pay at the end. You know, I've less qualms about. I'd rather see us pay 80 million for Maguire than. Well, I don't know. I didn't want Di Maria, that's for sure, when we paid 75 for him.
Well, so there's another one, isn't it? Another player where you've spent big money on.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
So I mean, you've wholly depressed me now. So
I'm really sorry, mate. I'm really sorry. Yeah.
So I guess let's try to end. We'll end it here, and I guess we'll try to end on a positive note. So where positive for you in this instance? Where do you think Liverpool will end up at the end of it? Like, heart of hearts, where do you think you'll finish?
Oh, it's such a hard one to say, if I'm completely honest. It sounds like I'm not putting faith in the team, where I am, because I think.
Well, I mean, you've seen it twice before, haven't you?
So that's the difficulty. Yeah, you know, we've seen it twice before. We've literally seen it slip. I don't know. I think there's a lot of bonuses and that's happening at this moment in time with Keita coming back and Ox coming back and Lallana being fit. You know, we were talking before about in the United game we didn't have a player that could just play that pass or connect the forward and midfield together. So, you know, if they come back and they're fit and they're getting the odd games along with the team that we've got, we don't have any injuries, and we push on, then, you know, I'm going to say that we're going to win it. You know, we've got a good enough lead at the moment. Man City have got a lot of injuries. So yeah, I'm going to put my neck on the line and say we're going to win.
I don't think City played Chelsea yet.
I don't think they have. No,
I don't think they've played. They've not played us yet. So there's still more points for them to drop.
Yeah,
potentially. I mean, if we can get a result against you, well, I say result. If we can get a draw against Liverpool, we can get a draw against City.
Yeah, too right. It's a big game for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Where do you think United will end up?
Oh God, do you know? At the start of the season, I was probably the most optimistic, and I said I wouldn't be surprised if we got second or third. No, it's just the race for sixth place now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Four at a push, fourth at a push. If we have a really good run, fourth at a push.
I mean, you've got the bonus that Tottenham are slipping up as well, haven't you? And Arsenal that aren't looking great.
No.
So really, you'd expect that it was going to be you and Chelsea if you guys can turn your season around, because it's
See, I meant to say it early in the pod, but I think we can. I don't believe. I suppose I should have argued with you. I don't believe that Solskjaer. Like the 10 games we had after Solskjaer first came in. I don't believe that all of that was the Mourinho bounce. Some of that had to have been part of what Solskjaer did, and I think for me, part of the Liverpool games tactics sort of confirmed that to me in a sense. Whether that's just because I'm looking for positives or not, I don't know. But I think there's a manager in there. He just needs the team and the players to do what he wants them to do. But we'll see whether that happens in January. We've been told that we will spend in January, but whether we do or not is another thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a shining light for you, that the Liverpool game. Tactically, as I've already admitted, I think he got it absolutely spot on against us. He found us out, which not a lot of managers have been able to do so far. No. The question mark for me is, and this might sound a little bit ridiculous because he's a football manager, but he had 2 weeks to prepare for that game with the international break.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time. Can he plan quickly enough week in, week out to be able to get it right tactically? That's the question mark for me.
Well, I mean, I think the other guys will record about this, but we've had an abysmal game in the Europa League tonight. We won, but the performance wasn't great. And even though we were playing second string players, you'd expect second string players to still be beating. I can't remember who it was we played, but no, it's Belgrade. What's the not Red Star? What's the other Belgrade?
I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah, you've not been in the Europa League recently, have you? Yeah, all right. Well, yeah.
No, to be honest, though, mate, I do. I don't want the Premier League to become a two team league like the German league, the France league, the Spanish league. So I think it's great that it stays competitive, and the clubs like United, as you know. We all joke, wouldn't it be brilliant if United were relegated? And we say the same about Everton as well. But actually, deep down, I think it'll be a real shame. If we're going to be honest, we want that rivalry there. I'd rather we won the league and we pipped you to the post by 10 points than we won the league and you were sat in 13th or whatever. I want that competitiveness there because it means something more than what it was for us just to win. So I do sort of hope, I'm being nice, to be honest. I don't hope you turn around, but yeah. Hope you recover. Hope you get a bit better.
There was a period where Liverpool was and I just felt sorry.
Yeah. Just
felt sorry when you had Andy Carroll lining up for you, just felt sorry that you had to watch that.
Yeah.
It's
a difficult position. We've been there. We spoke about that era after Benitez, and there's similarities in the way the fans feel. When you are sat there in 7th, 8th, 9th, and you're just thinking this isn't right for our club. We're a bigger club than this. We're better than this.
Yeah.
And you're not getting the signings that you want, and that's the danger point for United at the minute, is not getting the signings, because Maguire wants, if I'm right in saying this, Maguire wanted to go to United because he was a United fan. Is this right? He supported us when he was
I've no idea, to be honest.
But you're looking and thinking, if you've got a choice, if you've got City, Paris Saint-Germain, United on the table,
yeah,
you're not going to turn and go, I'm going to go to United at this moment in time. And
no,
and for a fan, that's the worry. Are you big enough to be pulling the big names that United as a club need at this moment in time without paying ridiculous wages, which will put you in a really unhealthy position?
Yeah.
Is that all right? I just wanted to put in the doom and gloom a little bit more.
Yeah. That's fine. I mean, our listeners get enough positivity from us in the other pods, so perhaps a bit of reality helps. And that's part of what this pod is actually for, to be honest, because a lot of the guys in our podcast are on a similar wavelength in terms of positivity and, wait and see what happens with the rest of the season. So it's good to get another perspective. So yeah, I guess that's it. So good night. Thank you very much for coming on to the pod, Jay.
No, it's all right. No worries. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. And we'll hopefully have you back after the next game, possibly. If you
no, that'd be good. Yeah.
And we can sort of talk about how the season's gone for each club.
Yeah, that sounds good, mate.
Cool.
Cheers.